Hello, 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 everybody. Well, let me transition real quick. No, hold on. That's the wrong one. There we Intentionally messing up is fun, because that's what I'm doing. Totally. Anyway, well, welcome to another Nerd. Uh, I hope you all had fun, uh, doing things, or whatever you're doing, whether it was watching watching sports games like the Super Bowl last night. Yes, I'm recording this the day after the Super Bowl, or you know, playing video games that we had. So today, speaking of video games, we're talking about another video game. Now on the channel, before I have talked about this particular game. No, it's not Kingdom Hearts. It is uh, the Legend of, excuse me, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I did a defense of it, like a pretty basic defense of it, uh, a while back, about 4 or 5 months ago now, I think. It was towards whenever we started the YouTube channel side of the podcast, so it might be about a year ago now. But anyway, um, so welcome to the In Defense of Skyward Sword Part 2. Now, again, this is going to be sort of a rehash. Uh, Me and Nathan don't like doing rehashes too much, but every once in a while we'll redo a video or do more content on something. But I'm gonna I'm gonna do some I'm gonna do a something like this. I want to do this again, cover it. So there's gonna be some overlap between that first video, which by the way, go watch it. It's not that great of a video because that's when we were just starting. Like I said, that's when we were just starting recording, and yeah, I'm not. I can talk pretty good, but not in front of. It took me a while to get, talking in front of the camera down a little bit better. Anyway, um, so the first thing I'm gonna rehash for Skyward Sword is the story. The story of Skyward Sword is among the best in the Zelda series, and I'd even say it's among the best some of the best stories one of the best stories I've experienced in any video game I have played. Now, that being said, it does tend to retread, like what I'm doing right now. It does tend to retread the same areas, the same, some of the same bosses. You know, some of the there's only 3 big locations you can go to, all that stuff. So it is there towards the end of the story. It does kind of. There are some points where I'm just like, yeah, okay, I don't need to do this or that. We'll get to those in a moment. I'm just saying overall the story is amazing. The characters are amazing. This is one of the best uh, over the years. Uh, Nintendo, the producers of Legend of Zelda, have toyed with the idea of Link being the heroic knight, Zelda being the damsel in distress princess, and them forming some sort of romantic connection. This is one of the best renditions of it I've seen in the Zelda series. Uh, the only other one that I'd say might be a little bit better is the one in Breath of the Wild Through the Memories, but I'll talk about Breath of the Wild in another video. But the story in Zelda is amazing. So, a brief recap. Um, uh, you start off the game like you do most Zelda games, waking up as Link, the protagonist. You go off to meet Zelda. You do a couple tutorial style. You do a tutorial style, couple tutorial style missions, like finding your opponent equivalent in this game. which is the giant bird, and you know, you do that tutorial mission, and then you do a race, and then fast forward through all that, Zelda gets kidnapped. I know, big shocker, and Link sets off on a quest to find her. Um, you know, but again, the story is really well developed through from. Yes, the tutorial is a bit long for my taste, but that's because when it initially came out, it had motion controls. They felt like they needed to, tutorial you almost to death because there was a lot. The motion controls were still sort of new technology at the time, and they were still kind of figuring out what they wanted to do with that. Anyway, so the story is just amazing. It just does. It plays on the Zelda getting kidnapped and then going to rescue her, trope really well, and then it morphs from, hey, your Zelda is not kidnapped, Zelda is trapped now. It goes from Zelda is kidnapped to Zelda being trapped. Now you have to basically defeat the final boss to free her. Anyway, Zelda doesn't really get kidnapped, but that's the threat. Um, on that note, I'm gonna go to one of the characters, Girahim. I said this in the previous video. I'm gonna say it again. Girahim is one of the best villains in the Zelda series. Again, he's not one of those okay, Ganondorf is the big bad in a lot of Zelda games. He's not one of those not Zan. Zan is who I'm thinking about in Twilight Princess. But anyway, in Twilight Princess, they kind of pull the rug out from under you and say, hey, the final boss really isn't Zan. It's Ganondorf all along. Cue a Ganondorf version of Agatha all along from WandaVision. Anyway, but Skyward Sword really doesn't want that. From the beginning, Girahim makes it clear that while he is kind of the big bad you're facing right now, he's trying to revive somebody. And they write it really well, towards the end of the game. Spoilers, by the way. I know, 8 minutes into the video, and I'm saying spoilers. But I think that's implicit in me talking about the story. So, if you all don't want to get spoiled, but at the end of the game, Girahim succeeds in getting Zelda and reviving the person he wants to revive. He wants revived, So it's clear from the beginning that he's trying to revive somebody, and he might not be the final boss, But still, they took the time to develop him as if he were going to be the final boss. Like maybe Link could succeed in preventing him from resurrecting his master. Let's see. Let me check my notes because I made notes for this. I had a friend who I was talking to about this game a while back, and he mentioned the art style that the game used. The game uses this kind of watercolor type art style for the background and everything else. So the art style of Skyward Sword looks amazing. I love the art, even in the Silent Realms. Again, something taken from Twilight Princess. Even in the Silent Realms, the art is still amazing. I think it's pretty consistent throughout. They took care. Well, there are a few major locations in the game. They took care for those locations in the game. Yes, I use my hands to talk a lot, so say hi to them. Hello. Anyway, So yes, it takes the art style is amazing. It builds on it's a visually pleasing game. I want to play this game. It's not a harsh, type of thing. Next is the music. Um, Again, I'm gonna go into a bit of video game history. I know in the last Nerd Herd I did like the technological side. Uh, Music has through video games has progressed too. I mean, music has been existed for thousands of years, whether that's worshiping, deities, or, like we do with worshiping God, or composing just beautiful pieces of music like Beethoven and Mozart did, uh, or compose, writing songs for people, whether that's country music, again, worship music, worship for worshiping people, other genres of music, and now we have people composing music for watching movies and playing video games. And believe it or not, when they initially started making video games and making music for these video games, most of the processing, you know, power went to like the visuals and the motion in the video game. So there wasn't really too much on the most processing power. Uh, couldn't be dedicated to the music. So most music was synthesized. It had this sort of techno kind of feel about it. It was a whole lot of. But anyway, you saw that. But you see that through the progression of consoles and the computing power in those consoles, we now have the ability to listen to fully orchestrated versions of video game tracks, and the soundtracks, obviously. Um, so, Skyward Sword is one of the, I think it's one of the earliest ones I played, at least, that was like fully orchestrated. They like hired an orchestra and fully dedicated to orchestrating its music, and it was amazing. It had some of the best music in the series. Again, it doesn't have too many. It has a whole bunch of new songs. It doesn't have too many of the legendary songs from the Zelda series. Again, the Heroes theme, the overworld theme from Zelda 1 makes an appearance. And actually, Zelda's Lullaby is the Battle of Gods backwards, if I remember right. Don't if I remember right, that could be a wrong assumption. But anyway, um, lastly, I'm gonna spend some time debunking some stuff. And again, this might be a bit of a rehash, and it's not really. I called it debunking stuff, but it's not really debunking stuff. It's just I'm gonna rant about. Uh, I'm gonna counter some of the. Yeah, I'm countering some of the stuff people have said. First of all, the controls. Like I said earlier, the motion controls. This was early in the development of, you know, the motion controls and like one-to-one tracking um, on something like that. They had the sensor bar, they had the Wii remote, and that was like the earliest tracking stuff of we need something in the remote to sense. We need something on connected to a console that can sense the remote. So it was just you know that was the earliest part of it, and they got better at it, and then we got stuff like the Switch, which they were just like, oh, we don't need a sensor bar to detect the controller. We can just do it by ourselves. So that's where it happened. Um, so it that combined with I'm gonna be honest, guys. Not all video game players are pro. So that combined with every gamer makes mistakes. So you have to draw the line of, okay, yes, these controls are frustrating, but uh, wait, I'm a mistake. Two, these are still controls that are very, very early in the development cycle, so they're not gonna be perfect. Second argument I'll counter is the repeated bosses. Now, as far as Girahim goes, I think they spaced Girahim's boss fights out near perfectly. Again, towards the end of the game, things get a bit rushed because they were just like, okay, we need to end the story. One last show with Girahim. Let's just fast track you to the final boss. So that might be a little rushed, but that's to me again that's okay. Of it's a video game wrapping things up, so there are gonna be things again. Game producers and developers aren't perfect, so they're not gonna do everything. Uh, they're not gonna please everybody. So, but I think they space Girahim's boss fights out, having you near the first one near the beginning, then the second one towards the end of the second part of the second part of the journey, and then the third one right before the final boss. That's amazing. And it shows your progression, not just like the progression of again in the universe as of Link as a swordsman and how strong he has gotten, but the progression of the player as they get used to the motion controls, as they get used to using certain items, using certain things that'll help you defeat bosses, using tactics and all that junk. So it helps both of you. It shows progression. And the imprisoned, again, that also shows progression. And again, it shows like once, again, I think the first and second fights are kind of, to me, again, they seem kind of crammed together. Of one is like towards the end of your journey, and then one is towards the beginning of the end of the first part of the journey, and the beginning of the second part of the journey. So they just, oh, okay, never mind. I just remembered something. Forget what I just said, but anyway, um, it does. I will stand by that. It does feel kind of rushed, but I think that's more due to they didn't space. Again, developers aren't perfect, guys. Um, so the imprisoned, I enjoy fighting him. The first fight, again, it's hey, look how far you've come after you defeated all this section of bosses. The second one, look how far you've come after defeating this section of bosses, and the second fight has a little bit of narrative weight to it. Of look how far Bruce, this side character, has come in his growth as a person, like from going to the cocky school bully, the cocky jock at the beginning of his story, always putting Link down, bullying Link, all that junk, to, hey, look, I'm willing to help save the world. I have gained humility enough to say, I am not the big hero in this story, but that doesn't mean I can't still be a hero, you know. Um, so, you know, that has a bit no more narrative weight. The third fight, again, it's like, okay, you're towards the end of the game. Good job. Look how far you've come. Look how far you come as a tactician, as a player, getting used to these controls. Go ahead, do it. And so that's just amazing. And that's where I'll end the video for now. Um, be on the lookout for more videos. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Where's my mouse? Hold on. There it is. When you don't move the mouse so long that it... Alright guys, see you later.